Let's try this again. What's up, college football fans, fellow members of Mountaineer Nation? This is Coos. I'm coming to you live from the hills of wild and wonderful West Virginia. This is Coos' Corner. Thanks for dropping in. Doing a live pregame show for the Guaranteed Rate Bowl. Got on here once, tried to do one, and it, for whatever reason, did not link. Apparently, the live stream did not work from what I'm being told. So I thought I would stop it and restart it again. There's been technical difficulties. First time I've ever had that happen to me. All right, somebody's on here. Who's on here? Drop your name in the comments. Finally must be streaming now, maybe. What's up, guys? Brandon, what's up, man? Hey, Guaranteed Rate Bowl, man. Finally, yeah. I don't know what happened, Joey. Man, I had major technical difficulties. I sat here and talked to nobody for literally 20 minutes. What's up, Gamecock Chuck? Thanks for stopping on, brother. I literally sat here and talked to zero people, and I thought, man, alive, I know I don't have a huge following yet, but to get zero in 20 minutes, man, something's going on. So apparently it never, my first attempt didn't even, I guess it never went live. I don't know. I've never had that happen before. But anyway, here we are now. It's all good. I want to take a minute, guys. Just found out a few minutes ago about the death of John Madden. Guy is a icon in college football. Or I mean, not in, but in football in general, I mean. And just Joey, I'm trying, man. I don't know how, to be honest with you. Hey, man, what's up, Jonathan Lewis? Hey, that reminds me, I need to before I finish though, I want to say shout out to John Madden. May he rest in peace. Thoughts, prayers go out to him, his family, any lives he's touched. Guy was an icon in the sport, was the face of the sport through the Madden video games, a game which I grew up playing. So rest in peace, John Madden. I'd be remiss if I didn't start my show off with that, in my opinion. As football fans, I think we all can look up to that guy. But Jonathan Lewis and Outlaw College Football on here reminds me, guys, we've just launched a new network called Coast to Coast College Football Network. There's going to be several of us YouTube content creators and podcasters putting content through this network. We're hoping to, just spread the word of college football long and wide out to the masses. A lot of great guys in this network. A lot of great football minds. Some coaches are even going to be on board in this network to bring a very interesting perspective. So I ask that any of you who have a chance, once we start throwing these videos out, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, all that stuff. If you don't mind, and obviously all the guys, we all have our own separate YouTube channels as well. But anyway, Joey Foster, Joey, I can't. I hit the dots, brother. It didn't even give me the option to. I did. It's the only thing it's asking me to do is put you in timeout or block you, and I don't want to do either of those things. So, I don't know. I'll have to figure that out. Maybe it's different on StreamYard than it is regular YouTube as far as making somebody a moderator. So I apologize. I'll try to do that, but right now I haven't figured it out. And guys, it doesn't look like. I also don't see the super chat option either on my screen. I was going to say, to let you know, if you guys want to contribute to my channel, hit the $, throw a chat up, and your chat will be easier to read and will be highlighted for me. But I don't even see a $, so I'm not sure if it's there on your end or not. If it is, and you want to donate and contribute, feel free. Outlaw College Football says, I am special counsel for podcasters who get unfairly banned. You have Super Chat Joey Good. It's not. It just. I guess it didn't show up on my end because I'm the creator. But cool. Thanks, guys. Eugene Napoleon's on here. Let me pull him on. What do you say, Mr. Napoleon?
What's going on, sir? How are you? Can you hear me?
Good. I can. Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine and well. What's happening, man?
Just getting ready for this game. I'm excited. You?
Yeah, listen, you already know. Yes, sir.
I was telling these guys before we get started, I got on at 8:30. I was trying to get a head start. I talked for 20 minutes with 0 people on my live stream. I'm thinking, man, this ain't going good. Well, Joey messaged me and says, I can't find you. You're not streaming. So I had to end my stream and start over, man. Apparently it wasn't streaming. So anyway, we have people on now, so it's all good.
Awesome.
But I appreciate you jumping on. If you don't mind, go ahead and introduce yourself to my audience.
Definitely. I'm Eugene Napoleon. I am a former West Virginia graduate and WVU Mountaineer. Played tailback there in the mid-'80s. Was fortunate enough to play on that fantastic 1988 undefeated team that played Notre Dame for the national championship in the Fiesta Bowl. So my jersey number was number 33. And listen, I'm always game to talk some West Virginia football.
Absolutely. And I've got a guy on here, I think he's still on here, that is a huge college football historian, and I bet he remembers you. I know he remembers Major Harris because he mentioned him to me in a previous video we done together. So awesome. I would venture to guess he's seen you play. He's an Alabama fan, but we won't hold that against him.
Listen, we won't, but in fairness to Alabama, I will say this. I was fortunate enough to coach the great Minka Fitzpatrick at St. Peter's Prep High School, who, of course, was a stud at Alabama and, of course, is one of the best safeties in the NFL right now.
Right. Awesome. That's great. That's cool stuff.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize you coached. How long did you coach?
I was at Prep for 4 years, actually, during my son's high school playing days at St. Peter's. Prior to that, I coached running backs at Dickinson High School years prior to that. And then prior to that, I coached Pop Warner.
Cool. That's awesome. Are you not doing it anymore?
No. Once my son got to the college level, that was it. I wanted to just enjoy his college career. And then once you become a sports agent, they make it so difficult for you to coach high school sports and collegiate sports because they kind of feel like there's going to be some conflict and interest there.
Right. Yeah, you were an agent at one time. That's right. You told me that on your live stream. First one we did. Thank you, Joey. Joey Foster says, my super chat's working. Thanks for the donation, Joey. And he says to tell you howdy.
That's my guy. What's up, Joey? Blessings to you and the family, my dude.
Before you came on, Eugene, I'm sure you heard the news. Matter of fact, I know you did because I heard you mention it on Golden Blue Dude show.
Yeah.
John Madden, man. Guy, anybody who loves the sport of football cannot. It's a sad day for any football fan in America right now, in my opinion.
Absolutely. You want to know what's so ironic about that? My wife just, God's honest truth, she just asked about John Madden like 2 days ago.
No kidding. Wow.
You know, she's a huge, sports fan as well. And we were just talking about John Madden just 2 days ago. I think now he has his documentary that's coming out on Sunday, I believe, correct?
You know, I hadn't heard about that, but it could be.
If I'm not mistaken, I want to say Sunday. And that's what prompted the conversation. So we lost a great man.
Yeah, he said that he won't be able to live to see that through. You know.
Yeah, we lost.
As far as the actual final product.
Right. Absolutely.
See how the audience reacts to it.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure. Let me tell you something. John Madden. Once again, when you think about sports, you think about football, especially football, obviously, that voice and the ability to break, it's kind of like, God bless him, Howard Cosell. These guys were legends. I mean, Mount Rushmore type figures in their sport. You know what I mean? And the commentary of it and those things, they're irreplaceable.
I agree. Absolutely. And then for me too, I grew up in the Madden video game era when it was first starting. When I was a teenager, man, and he's as well known for that as he is anything. I mean, he was the face of gaming for years.
Absolutely.
and really done a lot for that industry. I mean, Madden now is, I mean, there's professional Madden players out there right now. It's an industry.
Oh yeah,
You know,
all onto itself.
Yeah, exactly. Let's dive into the game, man. Oh, before we get into that, I've been dying to ask you a question,
Sure.
if you don't mind. What are your thoughts? Because there's been a lot of debate about this. Guys, I know Leddie's sitting out the game tonight. What's your opinion on players sitting out bowl games to get ready for the NFL draft?
I got to be honest with you, and again, for me personally, this is my take. I'm not throwing shade at anybody. I'm a firm believer in I finish what I start. So I started the season with my team. I'm going to end the season with my team. Now that's just me. Right. On the other side of the coin, I do understand if you have a guy not knowing where their draft stock is going to be and they're a little bit nicked up, some coaches will go to their star players and say, listen, you have a shot, to get drafted and take care of your family at the next level. You sit this one out. Some coaches I've heard doing that with their star players. Now you're a little bit nicked up. I want to make sure I help to protect your draft stock. You sit this one out. In Leddie's case, it's a tough call because I'm not sure if he's a little bit nicked up. I'm not sure if, that's his frame of thinking, not knowing where his numbers are as far as the draft is concerned. It could be a combination of all those things.
Right.
It is a tough decision because guess what? I'm not sure if the fans understand the drafting prospect of it or how it works, the whole process. If a kid doesn't have great numbers and all of a sudden the scout, you send your information into the NFL and they come back with the report of where you're rated or where you're listed, what your score is going to be. And let's say let's say he's projected to be a third rounder. Well, depending on how he performs at the Senior Bowl and in front of these scouts, that's going to determine a lot of where he's going to go, whether his stock is going to rise or fall.
Right.
And that's including getting hurt in the bowl game. So
right.
These guys now are looking at that more in tune. They're more in tune to that than they ever were before because there's so much more money on the table right about now. And that's what these guys are looking at. And I guess I could understand it from his vantage point. I guess I look at it, like I said, I'm a firm believer for me personally. I'm going to finish what I start.
Yeah, and that's kind of how I was. And I think it's just the way I was raised, my upbringing. My parents would never let me quit anything until I saw it through, as far as a sport or something. I've had that same conversation with my daughters. If they're unhappy in the middle of a season, I'm like, look, if you don't want to go out for the team next year, that's fine. But the season started, you're going to finish the season with your teammates. Because you quit now, you're letting your teammates down. And that's because there's more to it than just hurt. When you play a team sport especially. And that's what I'm trying. And I guess I'm just a little old school in that regard.
I think we both are. I tell you this, we played the Gator Bowl, man. My ankle was I was hurt from the start of my senior year all the way. I got hurt in camp my senior year. So I played the whole season, with a cracked bone in my ankle.
Man.
So, we played Clemson in the Gator Bowl that year. I wasn't 100% healthy. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
it is what it is.
Got a super chat here from Outlaw College Football. Says, thanks, Eugene, for giving us Fitzpatrick. We are the Taj Mahal of college football. The king of kings. Your 18-time champs, the Alabama Crimson Tide.
Now, see, look, now I'm going to have to respond to that. See, no, all jokes aside, you're more than welcome. Minka is such a great human being, man. What a pleasure to have coached that young man and to know who he is, to know him as a person, his family. He comes from a tremendous family, great mom and dad, sisters and brothers. They're just great people. And it warms my heart to see the success that he's having at the NFL level and what he did at Alabama. Just one of the best people on and off the field you will ever meet in your life.
That's awesome. And thanks, Outlaw, for the $5 super chat, brother. I appreciate it. And by the way, guys, I've got Eugene's Twitter handle scrolling across the bottom of the screen. If you guys want to reach, if you ever want to see what he's up to, he's got a lot of projects he's working on.
Thank you. I appreciate that,
Do
my
you
guy.
want to touch on that real quick before we get into the game?
Well, there's so many different things, but right now, which I'm really, really proud of, as you well know, my wife's single, chilling with my baby, along with my cousin Jared, DJ Eternal, producer, platinum award winning. That single went platinum about a month ago, which thank you to want to shout out, the radio station in Philly, WBNC Radio, Bev and Chris. Over 3.5 million listeners tuned into that record, and it went number one. And to current date, from what I can, if I'm correct, I believe it's still number one, on that station in 60 countries. And it's also number one on our R&B Soul Effects TV. So shout out to them as well. I'm just blown away by that. So that's one. And then two, we do have the We Are Strong academic curriculum. Great success. We Are Strong curriculum with my wife, and we're about to roll that out in schools all around the country as well. So we're blessed and highly favored. There's a movie coming out, which I'll tell you about that. Sessions will be out. I think we start filming it, depending on COVID, sometime in late spring. My wife has a part in that, and the song is actually one of the features off the soundtrack. So a lot of good stuff happening in 2022, and I thank God for it.
Great stuff, man. Awesome stuff. Good luck to you in all your projects. And one real quick, Joey had a question a minute ago about, first off, he says, can Eugene make it to Phoenix in the next hour? We will win then for sure.
Listen, I tell you what, I wish I could. I think I'm good. Listen, I think I'm good for about 5 carries. I really do. I'm 55 years old. Don't drink, don't smoke. I can still do 1,000 push-ups. I think I'm good for about 5 carries.
There we go. Hey, 5 might be all we need, baby. I don't. But somebody, and he also asked earlier about, and this is a good topic. Thank you, Sportsmania. I appreciate it. He says he loves the content. He says that he was asking about the SEC being 0-4 in bowl games, or 0-3 rather, in bowl games so far. What's your take on that?
Let me tell you something. We all know, and again, what makes the SEC the biggest conference, in college football? I think we all know the answer to that. It's the money. It's the TV contracts, all that good stuff, right?
Yeah.
And I think people don't really understand, these other schools, they have scholarship players too. So when you're playing against an SEC school, you kind of bowl your back a little bit because you want to prove that you can play with the big boys.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with that. To me personally, Houston beat, Auburn today, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. I watched that game from start to finish, and someone probably would have thought before the game started, even though Auburn is a 6-6 team, they're still a good football team. From top to bottom, you look at what they have on their roster, they still have, although I don't go by the 5-star system, all that nonsense, but they still got 5- and 4-star kids all up and down that roster on every side of the ball. And when you look at what Houston did to them, they played them from start to finish, top to bottom, head to head. They look just as good as what Auburn looked today.
Right.
So it just goes to show you, SEC is the SEC, but at the end of the day, like I said, football is football. You still got to line up, tackle, catch, block, all those things. You know what I mean? Throw, pick the passes off, all that good stuff. You still have to play the game. So I don't get too much caught up in the matchups when it comes to the SEC is playing the ACC, or you still got to go out and execute your game plan. And if you do that, you have a chance of winning a game. Doesn't matter who you're playing against. I firmly believe.
Absolutely. And Outlaw College Football threw me another $5 super chat, and he's a man after your own heart, Eugene. He said, had Major Harris not got nicked up in the Notre Dame game, does WVU win its first natty in 1988?
Listen, absolutely. Look, I don't like to see it. I still wear it. That's the 88 Fiesta Bowl ring. So, absolutely. I'm going to tell you right now, if Major didn't get hurt, not only would we have won our first natty, in my heart and in any other, we would have blown Notre Dame off the field.
Wow.
Had he not gotten hurt, we'd have beat them the same way we beat anybody else we played that year, because they didn't have an answer for Major. You're talking about a stud of an athlete that by himself was good for 28 points a game by himself in any combination, either throwing 3 touchdown passes and running for 1 or running for 2 touchdowns himself and throwing for 2. He was good for 28 points by himself. So if somebody get hurt, you take that off the field.
Yep. Amazing.
There you go.
Yep. That guy, he was, I was just a young kid then, but man, I remember I went back and watched his highlights. Amazing. I mean, he can make you miss in a phone booth, and he wasn't a small guy either.
No.
I mean, he was a big dude.
AJ had thighs, had tree trunk thighs, and was a lot faster than what people gave him credit for on the field. On the field. He understood the angles and just how to make cuts and all that stuff, make people miss and then outrun you. Yeah, he was something else, man. One of the greatest players I've ever played with, period, bar none on any level.
Yeah, awesome. He's fun. I mean, he's still fun to watch even today, going back and looking at the highlights.
Absolutely.
This game tonight, man, let's dive into it real quick.
Definitely.
What do you think the Mountaineers have to do to win tonight? What's the keys to victory for them tonight?
I'm going to tell you something. We have to control line of scrimmage for sure. We have to. And Minnesota, first off, we'll go back a little bit with PJ Fleck. I know PJ a long time. He recruited my son heavily when he was at Rutgers back in the 2012 recruiting class. So I spent a lot of time, with PJ Fleck. He's a great man, a great X's and O's guy, right? Mm-hmm. But more importantly, he knows how to get the best out of every player at every position on his roster. That's what makes him such a great coach, right?
Right.
That front seven that he has is probably one of the better front sevens, especially in the Big Ten. They're 8-4 for a reason. They stop the run very well. They get to the quarterback very well, all that good stuff. If we can neutralize the key, if we can neutralize that front seven, I think we'll be okay, right? So we don't have Leddie. We understand that. So you're going to have to extend that run game. To me, the best way to do that, screens. I said this earlier. You got to throw screens. Mm-hmm. Toss sweeps into the boundary, into the field. Make those guys run sideline to sideline. Wear them out a little bit. But we have to control that line of scrimmage, and we're going to have to get Deggy into a rhythmatic passing flow, which helps him to be comfortable in the passing game. If we can do that, and we don't get ourselves into second and long and third and long, I think we have a really good shot to win this football game. Yeah.
I agree with that. And I was listening the other day on Mark Rogers' channel. Golden Blue Dude actually was on there, and he also had a Minnesota guy on. I don't know if you saw that or not, but the Minnesota, he's a member of the media over there somewhere, but he made a statement that, and of course, he knows Minnesota football better than I do, but he said that Minnesota is actually really good at defending the screen game. Well, so that kind of worries me a little bit, because that's been kind of our bread and butter this year as far as when we need some yardage. Mm-hmm. And the running game's not working, they throw it out to Leddie in the flat, or they throw a short screen to Winston Wright or one of those guys. And if Minnesota's able to stop that, that could be trouble.
It could be a long night. Well, let me say this to you. Okay. Tendencies is what I talked about in what on the Golden Blue Dude show. We talked about that tendencies. Will Coach Brown break some of the tendencies that he's typically used to running in certain things, offense, defense as well, right? Yeah. It'd be interesting to see if we can do that consistently tonight, because that as well plays a huge role into what we're going to be and if we can win this game tonight. If he doesn't come out and do the same things that's typical of what Minnesota thinks he's going to do, offensively and defensively.
Yep, I agree with that 100%. And I said that, I don't know who I was talking to the other day. I don't remember if it was on one of my videos or just in a conversation, but I was telling somebody the other day that I think our offense, number one, the story about our offensive analyst going to work at Minnesota, which I know he's not coaching, but, I you still don't know what kind of conversations are going on behind the scenes. But I feel like Coach Brown and his staff are going to do something. There's so much on tape, right? That these teams, there's probably not a lot of secrets at this point anyways.
Right.
I think if you give Coach Brown this much time, I think they'll come out with some new wrinkles tonight. I really have faith that they're going to do that tonight. So I think you're right. I think they're going to need to in order to win.
Oh, no doubt. Listen, Minnesota is, again, they're 8-4 for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
So they're fully capable of winning whoever their opposition is going to be. And I personally believe, just like even though we were 6-6, there were some games that we should have won. There's some games we could have won. At the end of the day, it does come down to this is football. Whoever's going to execute in the passing game, whoever's going to execute in the run game, whoever's going to execute on the defense side of the ball, whoever's going to execute better in special teams is going to win this football game. Simple as that. The one thing about Minnesota that I know for sure that we can take advantage of is they're not good in the secondary.
Mm-hmm.
They have had, some ups and downs in the secondary. We need to exploit that.
Yeah, it's good.
We need to find ways to exploit that.
Yes, and I hadn't heard that yet. But that's if that's a weakness, then maybe that's something because we obviously our passing offense has been our strength this year,
right?
At least first half of the season, especially. So maybe we can exploit. Maybe the Mountaineers can exploit that tonight, and Winston Wright and Sam James and those guys can get some big plays.
You have to for me, and what I'm talking about with throwing a little bit of wrinkle in there. You have to formation them into a situation where you're going to make them try to play you man to man.
Right.
And for me, I think our receivers, as you just stated, we have a chance to win that battle a few times tonight. On the flip side of that thing, I'm hoping that we can make Tanner Morgan beat us with his arm versus in their run game. They're pretty good in their run game,
mm-hmm.
close to about 200 yards a game. So
right.
If we can make him throw the ball and try to make him do something that he's not really comfortable doing, we have a chance to turn the tables and win this thing. And that's what I'm looking at. But that also comes down to tendencies and, not being comfortable with what we've been doing over the last 12 games. Come out and show enough of a wrinkle where you're going to make Minnesota come out of character and do things that they're not comfortable doing, which is going to play
right.
to our strength versus our weakness.
Right. I agree with that. Joey just made a comment to me, and I'm going to ask you about this. Have you had a chance? He's talking about West Virginia strength coach. He said that he thinks we have the best strength coach. I have heard a lot of great things about the strength coach at Wayne. I'm drawing a total blank on his name for whatever reason, but
Coach Joseph.
Yes, Mike Joseph. Sorry, I just had a brain lapse there for a second. But they say that he is the most well-liked guy on that entire staff.
Yeah,
they said every player that leaves that program, he's always the first guy they ask about.
Yeah.
Have you had a chance to meet Coach Joseph?
Love Mike Joseph. When my son first got there, Brandon had an injury that was kind of bothering him since high school, his senior year in high school.
Mm-hmm.
And when he got to WVU, let me tell you something, man. Mike worked with him and got him so much stronger. He's a great guy. I love Mike Joseph. And I could understand why the players feel that way. When you have a great strength guy, man, listen, that is so important. That's the guy between your head coach, your offensive coordinator, your defensive coordinator. If you have a great strength coach, that's going to take your program to the next level. And Mike Joseph is that guy. He really is. So, I can see why they rave about him. I love him. I have nothing but good things to say about that man. Good man.
That's good to hear, man. Because I mean, you look at these offensive line, and I know obviously you got to give kudos to the young men themselves as well for working hard and putting in the work. But we've got two offensive linemen that have started as true freshmen, which you just don't see that very often in Division I football, especially at the Power 5 level.
Absolutely.
So for him to be, and I think you've got to give Mike Joseph and his staff a little bit of credit for that because they've helped those guys get prepared physically to do that job as 18 and 19-year-olds.
Oh, definitely.
Going up against 22-year-old grown men.
Definitely. And you're talking about the consistency of it.
Right.
Because, again, a lot of people don't understand that, too. When you get to a Power 5 level, I don't care which conference, if it's a Power 5 level, that means you're going to play 7 to 8 good, strong games per year. And you're going to have a few smaller schools within that schedule, but 7 to 8 you're going to play. That means you have to be consistent week in and week out. So if your strength program is on par with where it needs to be, you're going to be able to sustain that throughout a 12, 13-week football season at the collegiate level. And that's the difference. And that's why you see programs, you can tell the ones that have a really good strength program and the programs that don't.
Yeah. Well, I think the fact that I think Mike Joseph's been there through 3 coaching staffs now.
Yes.
What's that? And usually when coaching staffs come in, they clean house.
That's right. But that speaks volumes.
Absolutely. I think so. I mean, when you got a guy who's been there through 2 coaching changes and 3 staffs, that shows you the kind of man he is and the kind of coach he is.
Absolutely.
One thing I wanted to talk about is I think tonight is Tony Mathis' chance to shine tonight. And I think I got a good feeling about him tonight. I think he's going to play well. I think he's going to come in with a chip on his shoulder with something to prove. And I've heard he's the hardest worker on the team. And I think his offensive linemen are going to play their butts off for him tonight.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Tony Mathis and him being, you've been an ex-running back yourself. I want to hear from your perspective what you think about Tony Mathis tonight.
I got a smile on my face, man.
Mm-hmm.
Because, see, I said this earlier as well. Here's the difference with Leddie Brown being the bell cow of that offense, at that position for the last few years. And it wasn't like, my years at WVU, man, we had the 4-headed monster. A lot of people, myself, A.B. Brown, Andre Johnson, Craig Taylor, who was a fullback who ran like a tailback.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you throw Major Harrison there. So that's 5 backs, literally, that you're going to spread the ball around. Each one of us, different running styles, each one of us being fresh to run the rock. Well, imagine if you're the guy that's getting 75% of the balls are going through you, you're going to get nicked up. So with Leddie being out of the way, it's going to open up an opportunity for the next guy up.
Mm-hmm.
And you're 100% right. This young man has a tremendous opportunity to really show his worth and all the different things that he can do. Because guess what? Tonight, he's going to be called upon not only to carry the ball, but I'm sure he's probably, is figured to be in their passing game as well. So you have a great opportunity to show all of your skills in a bowl game where everybody's tuning in and everybody watching. Man, I'm getting excited over here. I got goosebumps.
I can tell.
That's what you go. This is why you come to a school like WVU. This is why you want to be in a Power 5 conference. This is why you want to play big boy football. These are things that kids dream about.
Yep. Yeah, he said they asked him in a press conference. They said, do you look at this as the end of the season or a new beginning? And he said, for me, it's a new beginning.
Absolutely.
And for me, I'm like, man, this cat's going to come out. He's got the right mindset. He's going to come in and he's going to play like a man possessed, in my opinion.
Absolutely. And people forget, every time you count West Virginia out, history has never failed us yet. Every time you count WVU out, we bow our backs, we bow our necks, and we come out and we play West Virginia football. And I don't think tonight will be anything different.
I'm with you. I know I'll probably take some heat for this, but in my prediction video, I try to be unbiased, even though I'm a West Virginia fan. I did predict Minnesota to win by 3 points tonight, but I do think West Virginia can win. The matchup doesn't necessarily favor West Virginia,
right?
But I think with 3 weeks to prepare for a game, and with everybody playing with the exception of Leddie,
right?
I really think they got a shot, and I think they're going to be. I think they're going to come in ready and fired up and ready to play.
Let me ask you a question. Just with that point,
Yep.
Every bowl game we've been in, for some odd reason, it doesn't seem that the matchup doesn't seem to be our cup of tea.
Right.
Now, think about the bigger bowl games in the history of West Virginia football, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's always been when we played Oklahoma in the Fiesta Bowl. I think we were the only state who picked us to win the game, right? So,
Yes. Yep.
and oh my God, I don't have to be a historian to remember what happened on that night. Okay. And
Yep.
last night, that was in the desert too, now, wasn't it?
It was actually, now that you mentioned it.
Yeah.
And hey, you bring up a great point, because the last bowl game we won was also in the desert when Dana and his guys went out there and beat Arizona State in the Cactus. It was the same bowl game. It just had a different name.
So for me personally, I remember when we played in the Sugar Bowl, we played Georgia. If you remember that. And everybody, same exact thing. Oh, that's not a good matchup. Oh, Georgia's going to drum West Virginia. I think at the half, I think we were up by, if I'm not mistaken, somebody please correct me if I'm wrong. I think we were up by 4 touchdowns. So, yep. I mean, for me, I don't get caught up in what the matchups look like. I get more caught up in who prepared the best. To me, the first 2 or 3 series will tell me pretty much the outline of how that game is going to potentially go.
Mm-hmm.
And what new wrinkles I'm seeing in all 3 phases of the game, offense, defense, and special teams, because you cannot go out. I'm a firm believer of this. You cannot go out and do the same things you did throughout the course of your regular season and do it in postseason and expect to win. Mm-hmm. You're going to have to throw some things in there somewhere. So I am a firm believer of that.
Yeah. Yeah. When I was analyzing Minnesota, man, they don't blitz a lot. They do blitz some, but not a lot. Right. They don't have a lot of sacks. They don't have a lot of tackles for loss.
No.
But yet they have a top 10 defense. So what's that tell me? They're extremely fundamentally sound. They don't beat themselves, and they don't miss assignments.
No.
And they tackle well.
If you know PJ Fleck, that's who PJ Fleck is. Exactly what you just said. That's who he is.
Mm-hmm.
His teams are well coached. They're smart young men. They're going to play to their keys. They're going to follow their assignments. They're not going to blow too many assignments. They're real consistent. And their philosophy, if it's close in the fourth quarter, they expect to win.
Yeah. Yeah, you can tell they're a well-coached team, but I mean, because like I said, they don't wow you with any stats.
Right.
As far as individuals. But when you look at their stats as a team, you're like, wow, they're top 10 nationally in like 4 different defensive categories.
Right.
And I mean, you don't do that by, especially when you don't have a whole lot of big plays. You don't do that unless you're extremely, extremely fundamentally sound and disciplined as well.
Absolutely.
Is another.
It goes to show you this too, which is funny about who they are as a team, and you know, you pretty much take on the character of your head coach, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that shows how consistent they've been over 12 weeks in the regular season. Because you're 100% correct. There's nothing that's going to jump out on the page when you look at what they do, but yet and still they're 8-4.
Right.
And in some of those games, they could have easily been 10-2.
Absolutely, they could have. Because 2 of those games they shouldn't have lost.
Right. So
at least 2 of them. One for sure.
It just goes to show you, though, they have a good football team, and it's going to be a good challenge for where we are right now. But I also think it's a measuring stick for where we are right now. And to win this game, I'm going to tell you something. It will really go a long way into the offseason as to the projection of where we're going to go during the offseason.
I think so too, and something else too. Minnesota's extremely. They're a veteran team. They have a lot of upperclassmen.
Right.
So it's going to give our young guys, like you said, it's a measuring stick for because we have a lot of young guys on this team, and it's going to give these young guys a chance to either playing another game against a quality Power 5 team.
Yep.
With the experience and it's well coached. I mean, all it's going to do is get them better, man. In my opinion.
What a great opportunity! I'm looking forward to it. You know, just what a great opportunity to go out and compete against a great program coached by a really good coach who knows what he's doing, and you giving your young pups an opportunity to play against a veteran-laden team that, you know, not only is 8-4, but it's a good 8-4. You know, they beat some quality programs to get to this particular record, and it'll show a lot of where we're going and trusting the climb and the things that Coach Brown and his staff wants to do moving forward, this game can really set them in the right motion rather quickly if you win this football game.
Right. Yeah. Real quick, this is off topic. I got some guys asking questions that want to know about you.
Sure.
Outlaw of College Football wants to know, before you picked which, of course, I know your story, but he wants to know your top 3 schools were before you picked WVU.
Oklahoma, Pittsburgh, and it's funny. Oklahoma, Pittsburgh, and the third team was a little bit of a toss-up because I have to say I didn't like any West Coast schools. So anyway, I kind of liked Ohio State for a little bit,
mm-hmm.
and then we kind of went back and forth with what Ohio State looked like academically at the time. And my mom wasn't happy with the ratings, what they were doing with their student athletes at that particular time. And then they kind of had a little bit of a knockback in the 80s of being a football mill. So she wasn't too happy with that at all. But for me, when you look at schools like Old State with the type of backs that they had coming out of there, that's what it was. But I had a bias because I was such a big Tony Dorsett fan, and Pitt was always my dream school since I was 7 years old. So, even though I visited Oklahoma and I took an official visit there and, it was a great visit, I knew all along I was going to go to Pittsburgh.
Right. So you have a whole different perspective of the backyard brawl then than even we do.
Oh man, yeah.
You see it from both sides.
Oh, no doubt about it. But I'm gonna say this: had I visited West Virginia out of high school, that probably would have changed my whole perspective. I didn't visit WVU out of high school. I took my official visit to WVU when I decided to transfer after my sister died. Right. That probably would have been my home because I don't think anything would have changed, just as it did when I took my official visit when I decided to transfer, and I took 5 more visits. WVU was obviously one of them. I fell in love with the campus, with the people, with the state right then and there. And I say that to this day. All you have to do is get these student athletes on campus. The campus sells itself. The people sell themselves. The state sells itself. Morgantown sells itself. You don't have to do much. Just get them on campus. I'm a firm believer. Just get them on. And I was fortunate to be, one of the top recruits in the entire country coming out of high school. Mm-hmm. So I had scholarships at every Division I school. To travel and take 10 visits in that short period of time, 5 at a high school. Then when my sister died, I got 5 more. Some of the biggest programs in the country I had a chance to visit. And I will take West Virginia and put them against any one of those blue bloods that I had a chance to visit. And that's back then. I could imagine even now with the university being what it is and just tremendous facilities, it's incredible. So I still feel the same way. Just get these kids on campus, and that school will sell itself.
Right. Yeah, and especially now that they've got the new locker room and all that stuff. I guess you've heard about that, right?
I'm sorry. Say it one more time. Somebody was trying to call in and you was saying.
That's okay. No problem. The new locker room and everything that they have. I guess I said that doesn't hurt either.
Oh, listen. Every time I get a chance, my son was down there recent. And look, I was telling President Gee, I'm a little bit jealous. I'm a little jealous with all that good stuff they got going down there. When I shot my documentary there a few years ago, they were breaking ground on some new stuff, and it just blew my mind to see the facilities and where they are now. What a beautiful facility. Second to none, in my opinion. Beautiful facility.
Yeah, I don't think it's a coincidence that the year after they get those new facilities, we all of a sudden have the best recruiting class based on star rating.
Right.
In the history of the program.
Right. So, it means something. It does. Kids like they like the bells and whistles. It does mean something. That's true.
And up until now, we really couldn't compete with the bigger programs in that arena as far as the facilities arena, and now we can. So because Absolutely. It takes money, and we just we're not we don't have the we're not Texas. We don't have billions of dollars laying around for our football program.
Oh, I tell you something. Not to be, facetious, but how's that working out for them now?
Yeah, that's. I had a conversation with somebody about that today. They have gotten, or yet maybe yesterday, they've had the top 5 recruiting class pretty much every year, and they've been irrelevant on the field for a decade.
Yeah.
So recruiting means something, but at the end of the day, you've got to develop the talent, and you've got to have good leadership at the university and in the athletic department to be successful.
Absolutely. You win with character, and what you recruit and what you develop is going to be what your program is going to be over the long haul. It's not that flash in the pan stuff. You get to, at one point, who was it? Florida State, back in the day. Every year, they had the #1 recruiting class in the country. Mm-hmm. Out of those years, how many national championships have they garnered from it?
What, 1?
See,
maybe 2.
And that's the thing. So you can have 5 stars all up and down your roster, but if you don't match it and you don't bring those kids together and they can play together as one functional unit, it doesn't matter if you got 15, 25 stars. You still have to develop them where they can play together as one singular unit, as a team.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing.
Right, absolutely. A couple more quick questions, and I'll let you go because I know you're a busy man. Kenneth Hill wants to know, who do you think will get the MVP award tonight in the bowl game?
Well, that's a good question, and you may be surprised. I'm hoping that Deggy gets it. I'm hoping that Deggy comes out and throw for about 275 to 300 yards with about 3 touchdowns, no picks, and controls the offense, controls the clock. Because if he plays well, it means we're going to have a pretty good night.
I agree with that. The Gamecock Chuck agrees with you. He thinks it's Deggy as well. One more question for you, then I'll let you go. Do you do score predictions?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I got one for you.
Okay, go for it.
West Virginia 28, Minnesota 24.
That's about where I'm at, except I'm flipped. I've got Minnesota 27, West Virginia 24, but I hope yours is right and mine's not. Hey, if I can come on here tomorrow and admit I was wrong, I'll be a happy man. Trust me.
Listen, look, you and me both.
Yeah. Hey, I'm not afraid to admit when I'm wrong, especially if it means my team wins the game. I'm cool with that.
Absolutely.
Well, listen, Eugene, I really appreciate you hopping on here. I know you're busy. I know you've been making your rounds today, and I know you've had a busy day. So I'll let you hop off and get back to your beautiful family, your beautiful wife. And everybody check out Eugene's work. Check him out on Twitter. He's also got a YouTube channel, by the way, now where he does called Napoleon's Corner.
Yep.
Every Wednesday, there'll be a video posted there. Some really motivational stuff. At least I find it motivating anyway. Hopefully, I think everybody will if you go check it out. Subscribe to that channel. Like his videos. Maybe he can grow that channel as well in addition to all his other projects. So
I appreciate
anyway, Eugene, thanks again for coming on, man.
You got it. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Let's go Mountaineers.
Let's go Mountaineers.
Get a big win tonight.
Let's do it.
You got it. Take care.
All right, David. All right, I'm still on here, guys. I thank Eugene for hopping on. He's a super guy. Great conversation. I could sit and talk to him for hours. He's so knowledgeable about the game and about the recruiting process because he's been there and done it, and didn't really get into it much. But the guy he also spent 10 years as an agent, so he's seen it from the business side as well, and. He's a big advocate for Neil Brown and him not getting fired because he knows how hard it would be to find a good coach if you fired Neil Brown now. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. I blocked the wrong person. John Park, I did not mean to block you, brother. I was trying to block somebody else, so next thing he blocked you. So I'm going to have to go into my account, John Park, and unblock you, brother. I'm sorry about that. I was trying to block a comment above you. And it won't let me unblock you now. I'm going to have to do it in my account. So John Park, I apologize, brother. I did not do that on purpose. I promise. I had a spammer in here, and I was trying to get rid of, and accidentally hit you instead. But anyway, yeah, Kenneth Hill, very awesome. Yeah, he's a super. Like I said, he does a lot of man. He's in the music business. He's written 2 best-selling books. Obviously, he's played football at the college level and the pro level. He played in the AFL and the CFL. His wife is a platinum-selling recording artist. He's got his own. He runs his own business. He's got his own clothing line. I mean, this guy is everywhere, man. He's an entrepreneur. I mean, let's just face it. That's what he is. He's an entrepreneur. He's been successful at pretty much everything he does. And if you listen to his story, he wears gold and blue. He said he always has something gold and blue on. Even if he's wearing a suit, he might have an undershirt on that's gold and blue. And he said everywhere he goes, his wife always teases him and tells everybody, I guarantee you he's got some gold and blue on somewhere. Because he bleeds blue and gold, man. He's a true blue Mountaineer. Justin Kimball, thanks, man. I really appreciate that. Hope for an injury-free game tonight, Justin. I hope the Mountaineers pull it out. And I'll tell you what, man, I just want to say something. The Minnesota fan base has been absolutely phenomenal to me. They had some guy named Vance. I can never get Vance's last name right. Justin Kimball, you probably know who I'm talking about. Anyway, I would call him a Minnesota super fan. Reached out to me on Facebook, and he shared my videos, my Minnesota West Virginia preview video in the Gopher football fan group, and they have been so friendly and nice about it. Haven't received one negative comment from any Minnesota fans at all. They've been extremely complimentary, and they've been complimentary about West Virginia as a team and as a state. Just couldn't ask for nicer people. I think there's a lot of similarities in our programs. We both, kind of feel like the underdog all the time, feel disrespected, those kinds of things. Don't always get the big 4- and 5-star recruits and things like that. So I think there's a lot of similarities in our programs, and I think that it kind of makes our fan bases a little empathetic, I guess you could say, towards one another. Outlaw says, once again, Will Clemson, Minnesota. WV, once again, Will Clemson, Minnesota. W56 Mini Sucky 21. Woo! Outlaw, man, you always got to throw the Ric Flair in there, brother. Justin Kimball, I have a bunch of West Virginia friends from the Army. Thank you for your service, Justin. And that's because you picked Minnesota to win. I did pick them to win, man. They're a good football team, and I don't like the matchup. But like Eugene said, anytime West Virginia's been the underdog and the matchup doesn't look favorable, they always seem to find a way to pull it out. I have a soft spot for you guys, as it seems many in the media look down on you over the big dogs, Texas Snow. Yeah, well, we kind of get looked down upon by a lot of people, media included. We get looked down upon by fan bases in some regards, certain fan bases, not all, but certain ones. Just get a bum rap a little bit. Anytime the national media finds an opportunity to crap on West Virginia, they do it. Kenneth Hill, I wear W stuff all the time. Me too, brother. Look at this. This is a shirt. This is from the Bill Stewart days, guys. Being a Mountaineer, and it's got if I can find it, it's got the Let's Leave No Doubt somewhere. Oh, right there. The Leave No Doubt speech. Sorry, I wasn't trying to show my butt, but anyway, it's got the Leave No Doubt words on the bottom. This is probably my favorite Mountaineer shirt I have. It's old and worn out, but I love it. And it just reminds me of the late, great Bill Stewart. That guy was a true blue Mountaineer, man. I miss that guy. He wasn't necessarily my favorite head coach we've ever had as far as wins and losses and scheme and all that, but he was a great Mountaineer, man. Trey Sargent, thanks for stopping in. Texas Tech up 34-7 with 8.5 left. Man, this is unreal. What is going on with it? I'm going to put this in perspective. And I'm a Big 12 guy. I'm a Big 12 fan. I'm a West Virginia fan. Houston beat an Auburn team today that had their starting quarterback out, their best defensive back out, and their best linebacker out, and along with some other guys. I think they had 6 starters out. And it wasn't just any starters. It was their best players were out. And Houston still barely won the game. UCF beat Florida. Now, I think UCF may have beat Florida anyway because Florida just didn't look good. But UCF beat a Florida team that had several starters out. I don't want to get too. I mean, it's been great for the new Big 12 and for the Group of 5 conferences. But I have a hard time thinking that if Bo Nix and I think his last name's McCreary or whatever for Auburn, if those guys had been playing, and then that linebacker, I can't remember his name, if those guys had been playing, I don't know that the game would have had the same result. Justin Kimmel says SEC outside of Georgia and Bama is overrated. Yeah, probably so, Justin. It is probably a little overrated. But at the same time, man, I mean, you can't really when you look at their non-conference schedules during the season, they usually win. But I tell you, in bowl games, man, they don't seem to. I just think here's what I think. I think the SEC kind of has I don't know what you call it, big boy syndrome or whatever. I think they get a little bit overconfident in all these games, and then they just lay an egg. And they take their opponents for granted too much. I think that happens a lot. Brandon Bailey, Nix transferred to Oregon. Yeah, I knew that. Yeah, I knew Nix transferred to Oregon. That's why I said he was out because he transferred. But he wasn't playing in the game was my point. Brandon Bailey says, man, something tells me to take West Virginia money line and make some bank, but I just don't know if we can win. Yeah, that moved up to -5.5, didn't it, Brandon? Am I right on that spread? I think I saw that today. I think it started at didn't West Virginia start as a favorite in this game, and then I'm assuming Leddie's sitting out probably changed the line some. Outlaw says SEC teams only care about playoffs. Justin Kimmel says Gophers beat Auburn with Bo Nix in the Outback Bowl 2 years ago. We controlled the game. That is with most of their bowl games being in second country. Yeah, good point. And I'm not saying Houston wouldn't have won the game today. I'm not trying to throw shade at Houston by any means. But I think we need to step back and realize Auburn wasn't Auburn. They were Auburn at about 3/4 strength. If maybe 2/3. SEC country. Yeah, okay, I got you. I was wondering what you meant. It's 6 now. Wow, 6? Man, that'd be tempting to take. Gosh, I don't see that, man. I really don't. I don't see Minnesota winning this game by 6, guys. Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, I did pick them to win, but not by 6. I think it's going to be tight. I really do. West Virginia opened up as a 2-point favorite, and now we are a 6-point dog. That is crazy. So there's been a lot of money coming in on Minnesota. Is what that tells me. I think is what that means. I'm still trying to learn this gambling stuff. I understand over/under and I understand point spread, but yeah, that's crazy, man. I'm assuming that Leddie sitting out of the game played a hand in that because he's been our most consistent offensive weapon. We get this game. Leddie Brown, the only one setting out. Yes, he is, and I'm happy about that. He's the only player from either team that opted out, and that's pretty cool stuff. Outlaw, SEC schools always have a lot of sit-outs in the lower bowls. I know, Outlaw. I hate it, man. I really do. I was glad to see Eugene say that he don't like it. Now, he wouldn't throw shade at anybody for doing it, but he don't like it either. And I guess I'm just too old school, man. I just think you start a season, you finish the season. Because think about it. Auburn might have won that game today had those guys not been sitting out, you know. I just feel like they let their teammates down by not being out there. Bulldog, thanks for hopping on, man. I just think that bowls aren't important to players unless it's a CFP, and that's true, Bulldog. And I think who's to blame for that is ESPN and the media, and maybe us fans too. I don't know, but yeah, they've just made bowls meaningless, man. And they're not, as you can see when these players win these bowl games, they're excited, man. It means a lot to them. So I don't know why the media has to poop on bowl games so much. But Tony, he is really good. Kenneth, he is good, man. And I really think, and I forgot to mention this with Eugene, but we were both expecting Tony Mathis to have a good game tonight. But I think with West Virginia bringing in this transfer, Lynn J. Dixon from Clemson, I think Tony Mathis is going to be even more motivated now. And I think tonight Tony Mathis makes a statement if Tony Mathis runs for over, I think if Tony Mathis gets even close to 100 yards, we win the game. I don't think he even has to go over it. I think if he gets close to 100, if he gets 80, 85, 90 yards, I think West Virginia wins this game. I really do. Because we've got to control the clock. We've got to keep the football. If we can't, what we need to do really is get out in front by about 2 scores early. If we can do that, then feed the rock, because Minnesota's not really built to come back from a deficit. So if we either get out early, or run the ball really well and play keep away from Minnesota, but I'm afraid if we do that, that kind of falls right into their game plan, because that's kind of what they do too. So I think we'd be better off. I'd like to see us get the ball first. If we win the toss, take the kickoff, go down the field, score a touchdown, jump on them early, be aggressive on defense, try to get the ball back. We need to score quick and early. Expanded playoff may leave it and see out you think. I hope so, Outlaw. I really do, man. I think it can't hurt. I mean, surely the goodness of guy's not going to sit out a playoff game. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure some would, but I definitely think it would help. ESPN pooping on the lower bowls is dumb. They literally televise many of them, so you would think that they would. Yeah, I mean, and I shouldn't say poop on them. They just don't talk them up enough. They pay so much attention to the upper tier bowls that they make the lower bowls seem meaningless, even though they're really not. That's what I mean by poop on them. That's all. I don't think they just don't give them enough attention. Too true. If the Gophers get down by 2 scores past halftime, we are screwed. We're definitely not quick strike. You're right. And West Virginia is not really either, Justin. That's not really our strength either. Now, we can be. We have been at times, but we're not consistent at it. I've got to figure out. I feel terrible about blocking John Park, man. He's been a very loyal supporter of mine, and I actually blocked him. Did not mean to do that at all. I'm going to have to go in and do that as soon as. So, John Parker, if you're still on here, man, I really am sorry about that. I'll fix that as soon as I'm done. I'm gonna hang in about 3 more minutes. 10 o'clock, I'm gonna hop off. The game I think is supposed to start at 10:15. I'm gonna get a quick update on this Texas. 34-7. Holy cow! I did not see this coming, guys. I started to do a preview video on this game and ended up not doing it because I just didn't have time. But I would not have picked this. Holy cow. Outlaw, you may know this. You've been an SEC guy. How many, and Gamecock Chuck, you too, you're an SEC guy. How many, do y'all know if Mississippi State had a lot of opt-outs? Dagan needs to manage the game, long drives, and protect the ball to win. I picked Minnesota on my wife's pick'em challenge, but WU can win. Yeah, Gamecock Chuck, I would look. If I was a gambler and I wasn't a West Virginia fan, I would pick Minnesota. I mean, heck, I did anyway on my channel. But as far as betting, man, I don't know if I would take 6 points. So 6 points is a lot. I mean, I don't think I would pick Minnesota to win by 6. I'd be tempted to take the points on that one. Outlaw says, look forward to interviewing with you again soon. I'm unbanned tomorrow. The wrath is coming. Outlaw, man, I look forward to it too, brother. I always enjoy working with you and with Jonathan. Everybody remind you once again, Coast to Coast College Football Network has been launched. Look for it on YouTube. Look for it on Facebook and on Twitter. All of us individual creators have our own YouTube accounts that are going to feed this network. We're all going to be teaming up and doing a lot of collaborations. We're going to be doing one live stream a week on Facebook. Check us out, man. We're really excited about it. We've got guys who live in different parts of the country, represent different schools. Most of the guys represent SEC schools, and you got me as the West Virginia guy, but we got some guys with some really, really good connections in the football world as far as coaches and things like that. So I think it's going to make for some really cool, entertaining content going forward. I think you'll really like it. I have a lot of cool guests on our shows. Thanks, Kenneth. I appreciate it, man. Appreciate the support. But yeah, this network, guys, is going to be huge. I'm really looking forward to being a part of it. I'm blessed and honored that I'm included in it. I don't feel worthy to be in the same network as these other guys. I really don't. But I'm not going to pass it up. And they're really fun to work with, man. And we all seem to work well together. We have good chemistry together. Outlaw, Jonathan Lewis, a guy named Aaron Parks, who has Enough Said Sports. By the way, Brandon, if you're listening, go check out Enough Said Sports. He's a gambling site, a gambling channel. He'll tell you how to bet, man. It's what he does for a living. So go check him out. Really cool stuff. And then Coach Bull Jones, guy's a high school football coach in the state of Georgia. Knows the game up one side, down the other. Very, very, very smart and intelligent when it comes to the game of football. Anyway, enough of that, guys. I appreciate all of you. Gamecock Chuck, Kenneth Hill, Outlaw, John Park, Bulldog JC, Justin Kimmel, Brandon Bailey, Trey Sargent, obviously Joseph Foster, Golden Blue Dude was on here for a minute. Appreciate him. See who else. Make sure I don't miss anybody. You guys were look, man. I couldn't do this without you guys. Brent Jones, thank you, man. Trent, I saw Trent the Sip on here earlier. Trent, I really appreciate. Guys, I did a video with Trent the Sip. He's an Ole Miss fan. Go check out that video, please, and go check out his channel. Some really cool Ole Miss content, Sports Mania. Thank you. DC Forever LSU, thank you for jumping on. College football, Jonathan Lewis was on for a bit. He had to roll. But anyway, thanks everybody for jumping on. I'm going to call it a night. Get ready for this game. Let's go Mountaineers. Hopefully after the game, we'll be saying Q Country Roads, baby. Good night, everybody.